as Grand Marshal Ludo Scheffer, professor in the College of Arts and Sciences, carries the Drexel University mace ahead of the faculty procession.
27. Well, it's, you know, it's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as the Task Force Dragon Honor Guard posts our national colors and the national anthem is sung by the University Chorus under the direction of Dr. Stephen Powell. Afterwards, please remain standing for the invocation by the Mufti Nayaz, University Imam, on behalf of the Drexel University Interfaith Council.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of your campus chaplains and all of my respected colleagues, I wish to convey prayers for blessings, courage, and success to all of the students, faculty, administrators, professional staff members, facilities coordinators, dining, security personnel, alumni, parents, and friends. May you all find blessing. May you all find blessing, those of you who have come to Drexel knowing exactly what you want to study, and may you all find blessing, those of you who have come with absolutely no idea of what you want to learn. May you all find blessing, those of you who have come to Drexel because you wanted to stay close to home, and may you all find blessing, those of you who have come to get as far away from home as possible. May you all find blessing, all of you, incredibly smart, beautiful, powerful individuals who have been chosen to be a part of this place, Drexel University. The early 11th century medieval Jewish philosopher Solomon ben Geberol, Shlomo ben Yehuda from Spain is reported to have written, "The first step in the acquisition of wisdom is silence. The second, listening. The third, memory. The fourth, practice. And the fifth, teaching others." Just a little after that, in the later 11th century, the medieval Muslim polymath Al-Ghazali from Persia wrote, "Knowledge without action is insanity, and action without knowledge is vanity." A contemporary of Ghazali back in France, the Christian theologian Saint Bernard of Clairvaux said, "There are those who seek knowledge for the sake of knowledge, that is curiosity. There are those who seek knowledge to be known by others, that is vanity. And there are those who seek knowledge in order to serve, that is love." What all this means, simply put, we believe in you, all of you, and we need you, all of you. We need you to keep your eyes and ears open and your minds and hearts open, to be kind to one another, to take care of one another, and to respect each other. We need you to help heal this world of ours, and we believe that you can and that you will. Look around you. The person standing next to you may end up being a lifelong friend. I would like you to acknowledge whoever is by your side right now, and I request you all to join me as I conclude this invocation. May our hearts be purged. May our hearts be purged of any fears or inhibitions and replaced with an ever-increasing boldness to live each moment as best as we can. May we be granted the courage to express our feelings, to let those that we love know how valuable they are to us, to seek forgiveness from those that we have wronged, and to exert mercy towards those who have wronged us. The burdens of life sometimes may seem too heavy to bear. The anxiety and anguish that sits inside of us may feel bigger at times than the world around us. May we be given audacious hearts that can overcome that pain inside, hearts that help us to carry each burden with ease, regardless of how heavy it seems. May we not be from amongst those who are sheltered from life's realities, but rather amongst those who are not afraid to face them. May people be brought into our lives that we love so much, our love for them moves us to be courageous but not foolish. People who we love so much, our dedication to their well-being is rooted in wisdom and mindfulness. May we become people who find strength through selflessness, not selfishness, sincerity, not self-centeredness. May we have the courage to stand again after we have fallen, to find meaning in our failures, and to keep moving forward, no matter what is trying to push us down. May we be granted the courage to put our trust in what we believe, whether we understand or not, and the courage to recognize and feel the depth of true love. May we harness that love and utilize it to illuminate the darkest of places we might have to venture in, both in the world around us and the world within us. May we have the courage to live our own lives, to understand our role in the writing of our stories, and make decisions with foresight and insight. And before each step we take in this world, to be mindful of always holding ourselves accountable for our actions. May we have the courage to forgive ourselves and to live a life in pursuit of true contentment. And may we be protected from anything that distracts us, gives us only complacency, or satisfies only our wants at the expense of our real needs. May our anger only be at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people, so that we will work for justice, equality, and peace. May our tears shed only for those who suffer from pain, rejection, and conflict, so that we will reach out our hands to comfort them and change their pain into joy. May our successes be many as we make a difference in the world by doing the things which others say cannot be done. May we have the courage to meet the challenges of this day and those of every tomorrow that we will see. May we always be protected from hearts that are not humble, tongues that are not wise, and eyes that have forgotten how to cry. Ameen. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Thank you, Imam. Please welcome, take your seats. All right. Good morning, distinguished guests, trustees, faculty, and colleagues, students, and friends. It is simply my pleasure to welcome you to Drexel's 2018 Convocation and the start of our 2019 academic year. I hope you've had a chance to welcome our talented incoming class, and although the deans will introduce our new faculty shortly along those lines, let me introduce our dynamic academic leaders who've started since our last convocation. Coming to us from University of California, Riverside, please welcome and congratulate Dr. Sharon Walker as our new Dean of the College of Engineering. Many of you know Dr. Paul Jensen for his leadership over the past 20 years, including serving as our interim dean. I'm excited to welcome him as our new Dean of LeBeau. After serving for a year as interim vice provost, uniting graduate education university-wide, I'm delighted that Dr. Elizabeth Van Boxdale has agreed to continue in a permanent role. So delighted for your leadership, Elizabeth. This year, we will initiate a Global Initiatives Council to discuss the best organization of our university-wide international programs. Until they finish, I'm delighted that Dr. Corinne Badeau will serve as Interim Vice Provost for Global Engagement. Thanks, Corinne. We also have new leadership in 2 of our schools. After 4 dedicated years as dean, Dr. Nancy Songer will devote full effort to significant research program that she pretty much spearheaded under her leadership. Thanks to Nancy to all her hard work. Moving along with School of Education, Penny Hamrick has agreed to serve as interim dean at the School of Education. Penny previously served as associate dean in the School of Education, but served for many years as dean in the CUNY system. Welcome and congrats, Penny. Following the retirement of its long-term dean, Dr. Donna Marasco, the College of Arts and Sciences is now moving ahead under the leadership of Dr. Maria Schulteis. Dr. Schulteis, a clinical neuropsychologist, is well known to the Drexel community as a member of the psychology department's faculty since 2005, department chair since 2016. Thanks to Donna and welcome to Maria. Many of you know John Donato and Tim Kersweg, who both served as vice provost, serving undergraduate education. With Tim's bittersweet departure to a dean's role at Penn State Erie, it has been a pleasure to appoint Dr. Shavante Anandan as interim vice provost. Welcome and thanks, Shavante. Finally, many of you know that Dr. Ludo Sheffer stepped down as a faculty senate chair this past summer. Ludo has been such a trusted mentor for me and partner, just a myriad of accomplishments during his term, 5-year term. Ludo, enjoy your transition. Until we have lunch later today. Joan Weiner actually has been serving the university for many years. She also bridged the transition from Ludo's leadership to who I'm about to announce, our new faculty senate chair. Just been unselfish. So I also want to recognize Joan for her work. So you will hear from him later, but I'm delighted to welcome Kevin Owens to the role of the faculty senate chair. I look forward to our continued work together. Thanks, Kevin. I hope many of you were able to refresh and reflect this summer. Each summer I have the opportunity to reflect, and I often talk a little about what I found out or what I learned over the summer. This past summer, one of my relatives pointed me to a book, The Groton Plantation, The Early Years in Allendale, South Carolina. Many of the Blakes actually come from Allendale, South Carolina. Pictured in the book is my great-grandfather, Jake Blake, and I'm not making that up. So he was born a free man and worked a plot of land with his 8 children, including my grandmother, Chloe Blake, who had 7 children of her own, including my father, the original M. Blake. So please humor me here. There's an interesting punchline. After reading the book, speaking with relatives, I became more interested in the history of the Groton Plantation. And it turns out the Groton Plantation is actually right next to the Blake Plantation, but all the Blakes I know were on the Groton Plantation. And I was also interested in when and how it was established. As it turns out, the owner of the Groton Plantation was Robert Winthrop, a banker and capitalist in New York City. He purchased the plantation in the early 1800s. As many of you know, A.J. Drexel was also a financier. Drexel had a finance company in partnership with J.S. Morgan, which is father of J.P. Morgan, and then later it was Drexel Morgan and Company. So I'm gonna get somewhere in a minute. Now here's the interesting twist. Before there was Drexel Morgan and Company, there was Drexel Winthrop and Company, and around the same time they actually purchased the Groton Plantation. So I guess fate is so interesting. What is the likelihood of 4 generations of Blakes being connected to Drexels, And then I would find out, the summer of my 3rd year here. So this summer I spent some time with Winthrop's great-granddaughter, who's also an academic, and we talked a bit about, her recollection of history and so on. So with that being said, after it's a fairly challenging 2nd year, I think we just had an amazing, amazing year. I think last year I asked you to dig deep. But I gotta say, this year 3 has been the best year ever for me as provost. So now I want to ask you, what is your connection to Drexel? It doesn't have to be 4 generations of Jake Blakes, but it might be through your love of our amazing students. It might be for our meteoric progress over the past decade. Perhaps it's because you like the culture of innovation and problem solving. Well, I'm going to ask you this year, embrace that connection and hold on. I think 2018, 2019 is going to be the best year this decade. Just a few highlights from me here. You'll hear more from the president shortly. I was delighted a few months ago to approve the hire of 30 new tenure stream faculty lines. We've also reserved 5 to 7 lines for diversity and strategic hires. The president's strategic plan focus groups are on the way and they're making impact. An exciting Thinking Forward group with subgroups focused on academic resources, retention, and efficiency. The Office of the Provost will also lead a focused effort to identify what I'm calling as Drexel Academics 2025. We're going to try to identify 10 top decile academic program themes and 10 top decile research themes. That initiative is going to be seeded by the deans. We've met over the summer. We had a large retreat to kind of develop the vision of that. And then over the fall, we're going to have faculty open sessions to kind of discuss what those themes might make and then develop what we can consider a 5-year plan as we move that into our operations. Thanks to the deans of both LeBeau and the College of Computing and Informatics, we announced today the Business Solutions Institute, which will centralize our efforts to bring real-world solutions to industry in our close proximity through research and also in-class projects. We also plan to investigate, with CCI's lead, an initiative to ensure that all our students, irrespective of their curriculum, have the right technology competency as they graduate and matriculate through our degrees. Also, I'd like to talk about a few of our pathways. We have a new School of Education program with support from Drexel University Online, with students matriculated in Washington, D.C. Center. We have a new pathway for students that come in and don't take courses in the first semester but start in the winter, Experiential Edge. Number of students started this year. We continue our work to enhance partnerships with 2-year institutions and historically Black colleges and universities with more than 4 new agreements and partnerships last year. So with all that said, I just want to say take a moment to reconnect with that aspect of the institution that's special to you. Hopefully you can derive satisfaction in the fact that you are making a very special place for our students and for your colleagues. And with that, I want to say have a great academic year. Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the president of Drexel University, John Fry.
Brian, thank you, and Good morning and a hearty welcome to all new and returning students, faculty, and professional staff, and a special welcome to our dedicated trustees and our devoted alumni. So the welcome back letter I sent earlier this week reflected on a few of Drexel's most recent accomplishments. I will mention just a few highlights from that note before reflecting on a topic that I think is of vital importance to Drexel's future. It's a topic that's also central to the vision of our keynote speaker this morning. But first, we welcome the most academically talented and largest freshman class ever. Welcome to our students. This is the second year in a row that we have recruited a record-breaking class, and I think that means the word is clearly out about our university. Second, and with great excitement, our outstanding faculty increased the amount of sponsored research awards last year by 11% to nearly 120 million. And this growth is reflected in Drexel's rise in the rankings for utility patents granted. According to the National Academy of Inventors and the Intellectual Property Owners Association, we moved up 18 places to 54th in the world. Congratulations to our faculty. Third, we embarked on an ambitious $750 million capital campaign to support important university priorities such as endowed faculty chairs, research and academic program funding, and endowed financial aid and co-op scholarships. This investment in our faculty and students will ensure that Drexel solidifies its position as a nationally competitive, comprehensive research university for decades to come. And to that end, I am happy to announce that, thanks to major gifts and commitments from so many generous donors, the campaign is well over halfway towards its $750 million goal. For the third consecutive year, we have raised more than $100 million, bringing the campaign total to over $500 million as of this month, which surpasses the university's previous campaign record of $455 million. Each of these initiatives makes Drexel a stronger, more significant institution and secures our place as a university of distinction, and that we surely are. So one of the many attributes that distinguishes Drexel is our incredible university collections, and that's what I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about this morning. I want to highlight some of our collections and reaffirm just how important they are to our mission as a research university. A.J. Drexel's vision included building a great art collection for students and faculty to engage in the applied study and research of arts, industry, and science. Our collection of decorative and fine arts objects, known as the Drexel Collection, forms the basis of the university's special collections. Among the first of A.J. Drexel's gifts was $1 million he gave to then-President James McAllister to use to travel to Europe to acquire works of art and design. Now just imagine a person like me having an assignment like that today to spend what was the equivalent of $26 million in art back in 1891. And President McAllister, I think, did a mighty fine job. A.J. Drexel adorned his institute with examples of fine art and design so that students who were here at the time, young women and men from many races and ethnicities, were able to improve their aesthetic preparation and appreciation while acquiring their education. Our founder was at the forefront of progressive thinking, realized that if you place objects within an educational setting, they can tell us so much about the world around us. I think that that was one of the timeless ideas that A.J. Drexel had and that we are so proud to carry on today. And today, there is so much more. The University Archives, managed by the University Libraries, cares for our rare books and documents. The Robert and Penny Fox Historic Costume Collection educates and inspires the exhibition and preservation of some 20,000 fashionable garments and textiles. And in fact, we are dedicating a new gallery and storage facility in Westfall this evening for the Fox Collection. Drexel's acquisition of MCP Hahnemann University, the successor to the historic Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania and Hahnemann University, brought significant collections, unlike any in the world, that trace the history of women in medicine. These collections include art, textiles, and rare books housed on our Queen Lane campus. In 2011, we took a giant step in adding to our collections when we formed the partnership with the Academy of Natural Sciences. The Academy, which was founded in 1812, is a crown jewel that cannot be replicated. It plays a vital role in understanding where we have come from, as well as where we are going. The Academy's venerable collection of 18 million artifacts and specimens has become a new cornerstone, adding to our many other historic collections. Drexel's partnership with the Academy has changed and improved the university in significant ways. We gained a partner that brought us a comprehensive natural and environmental science focus. And this partnership has enabled the university to train the next generation of environmental leaders while providing students from many disciplines with valuable co-op experiences. The affiliation with the Academy aligns with Drexel's position as an institution with deep expertise in collections management, stewardship, and scholarship. The addition of the Academy's extraordinary collection has also been important to research, important to society, and important to training the next generation of students focused on the critical issues facing and threatening our planet. On a positive note, the Academy is thriving, as Scott will tell you, and just completed renovations to one of its most popular collections, the animal diorama displays, which date back to the 1930s. The addition of important historical collections also underscores the role of great universities to acquire and steward rare, priceless materials for faculty, students, and future generations to learn, to explore, and to inspire. Other universities are making big investments in their collections as well. Earlier this month, Yale received a $160 million donation from Edward Bass to renovate its Peabody Museum of Natural History, which is home to 4 billion years of history. So, as an anchor institution in America's cradle of democracy, Drexel has an important role to play in preserving and maintaining important collections here. It has an important role to serve as a foundation for research, and it has an important role to share and enjoy with the general public all these treasures through great exhibitions. In short, the ability to leverage and grow our collections is integral to Drexel's mission to create high-impact, hands-on programs that foster research, teaching, career development, and civic engagement. So that brings us to today's keynote speaker. Dr. Scott Cooper is President and CEO of the Academy of Natural Sciences of Drexel University. Scott joined us nearly a year ago. He brings academic firepower and a global perspective formed by a career spent working on 3 continents. Scott came here from Victoria, British Columbia, where he was Vice President for Collections, Knowledge, and Engagement at the Royal British Columbia Museum. The Royal BC is home to one of the largest natural and human history collections in Canada and was voted Canada's best museum. Before joining the Royal British Columbia Museum in 2014, Scott was Director of Museums at the Qatar Foundation in Doha, Qatar, where he ran a $65 million capital project and created the first museum dedicated to the subject of slavery in the Islamic world. Prior to that, he worked in London as CEO of the Fulham Palace Trust, where he devised and implemented plans for the restoration and reuse of Fulham Palace, which is one of England's most important heritage sites. Scott's training includes studies in construction management at the University of Manchester. He holds a degree in architectural conservation and a doctorate in architecture from the Edinburgh College of Art. We are simply thrilled to have Scott here and look forward to hearing his inspiring words. Please welcome Scott Cooper.
It's warm. President Fry, Chairman Greenwald, Provost Blake, trustees, alumni, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to speak to you this morning as we welcome students and faculty alike in a shared celebration of the academic year ahead. Most of you are returning to study in a dynamic university that has perhaps become rather comforting in its appearance, and live in a vibrant city that is now, to a greater or lesser extent, home. For the freshmen amongst you, however, that sense of reassurance may not be so palpable. For some of you, it is possible that today marks less the beginning of a familiar chapter from a favorite book than the opening of a paragraph of a daunting novel written, quite possibly, in a foreign language. So, by way of a prologue to my address, but also as a way of settling any first-year nerves that may exist within this august auditorium, I am going to do something a little unusual. I'm going to read you a story. A short story, just 3 minutes long, and not just any story, but my young daughter's favorite bedtime story. I Know the Moon by Stephen Axel Anderson. So if you're sitting comfortably, and yes, I really am going to read a short story, I shall begin. The night creatures came to the mossy place in the deep wood, formed a silent circle, and saw the moon. I know the moon, said the fox. I know the moon is a rabbit, swift and large and glowing. We play a merry game of chase in and out of cloudy rabbit holes. That is how I know the moon. The moon's not a rabbit, laughed the moth. I know the moon is a cocoon, a place where the moths of legend are born and fly like stars to light the sky. Cocoon, that is how I know the moon. No, said the owl, it's not a cocoon. It's a window, cut through the night like the hollow of a tree. I see the light fly out and soar away and return to roost with the morning. A window in a midnight room. That's how I know the moon. The moon's not a window, said the mouse. It's a seed. Planted deep in night soil, it blooms as sunflower by day and warms my back, then slips to seed again at dusk. It is a seed in endless bloom. That is how I know the moon. The animals, each convinced that he alone knew the moon, began to bicker. Soon their voices grew sharp and tangled, and glints of tooth and claw and angry eyes flashed in the night. Enough, screeched the owl. There is but one moon. We shall have but one answer. The man of science. He reads the rings of trees, the stars at night, sunset colors, black on white. Surely he will know the moon. So they trotted and fluttered and scampered and flapped their way to him. The man of science lived alone with his thoughts in a tower high enough to almost touch the moon. Almost. He invited them in and seated them in a row according to width and breadth and height. In turn, each animal told him of its moon, then pleaded, "Please tell me that my moon is right." The man plucked a squarish book from his narrow shelf. "The moon, I understand, is a barren ball of sand. I know the width, I know the breadth, I know the height. It is dust, it is old, it is crust, it is cold. Facts and figures, all in orbit. Read the moon, then absorb it. To be sure, the moon is that and nothing more." The night creatures crept cautiously to the book. They sniffed it, they squinted, they stared. The inky pages said not a word. Their moon simply was not there. The animals thanked him politely and slipped sadly into the darkness. The path home was silent. Far away now, the fox's voice swept away the cool night hush. It takes more than words to know the moon. It must be chased and felt and seen. The man says it's made of letters. I know it's more the spaces in between. The other animals listened and understood. "I know the moon is a cocoon," said the moth, "not a ball of sand." "A night window," said the owl, "much more than dust." "A seed in bloom," said the mouse, "certainly more than crust." The fox smiled. "A rabbit," he said, "but not a nothing." "No," they said together, "never a nothing." The night creatures came to the mossy place in the deep wood, formed a silent circle, and saw the moon again. When I read this story, Annie is quickly at ease. I hope you all are too. Invariably, she is asleep within 3 pages. I hope you're not. Never have we really discussed what she makes of it. To her, I suspect the willowy illustrations of woodland animals set amongst the misty hues of a moonlit midnight are enough. To me, they are but wistful counterparts to what I consider to be one of the most subtle, incisive, and powerful essays on epistemology, science, and society that I've ever read. To me, they are eloquent interlocutors of the challenges now confronting science museums such as mine around the world. And to me, they are sources of inspiration for the future of the Academy of Natural Sciences of Drexel University. A future I would like to share with you a little bit this morning. First, for the uninitiated amongst you, a little bit about your academy. Whilst the past may be a foreign country, Philadelphia in 1812 might not be as unfamiliar to us as we might imagine. The government was embroiled in a raft of trade wars. Candidate Clinton, DeWitt Clinton for the historians amongst you, had lost a closely contested presidential election that turned on the votes of just a couple of states in the Electoral College. And the newspapers were filled with complaints about Philadelphia's civic infrastructure. In this case, not so much potholes as a disruption caused by the laying of a pioneering network of wooden water pipes. Through renewed war with Britain, the United States had turned its back on long-standing economic ties and was focusing instead on the vindication of a decidedly American identity. This gained vivid expression in the fields of natural science, which had suffered for years under what one contemporary described as that transatlantic reproach of being obliged to apply to Europe for an account and description of the productions of our own country. Irked by this, America's burgeoning science community sought more than a mere supporting role in the Enlightenment's great age of discovery. It craved its own scientific institutions at which new discoveries could be examined, validated, discussed, celebrated, and shared. And so it was, in 1812, a half-dozen amateur naturalists met in a small room above a Philadelphia apothecary shop to share their passion for a natural world, for the natural world, through the establishment of the Academy of Natural Sciences of, as it was then, Philadelphia. A reading of the Academy's rather circuitous constitutional act reveals the founders' profound commitment to a central ambition: the creation of a society of generous, good-willing emulation for the acquirement, increase, simplification, and diffusion of natural knowledge, unconnected with and unwarped by political or religious theses, views, or prepossessions. The Academy quickly established itself as the center of scientific study and education in the Americas. Amongst its curatorial roll call can be found the fathers of American ornithology, botany, paleontology, malacology, entomology. Amongst its unparalleled collections are the plants gathered by Lewis and Clark on their historic journey across the country, the fossils that President Jefferson kept at Monticello, the birds that John James Audubon acquired on his epic trip up the Missouri River. The Academy became home to birds collected in the May Archipelago by the pioneering evolutionary biologist Alfred Russel Wallace, mammals collected in Africa by the explorer David Livingstone, plants collected in California by the conservationist and Sierra Club founder John Muir, fish caught off the shores of Cuba by the writer Ernest Hemingway, shells brought from the Antarctic by the explorer Ernest Shackleton. Today, the Academy's extraordinary library of nature extends to 18 million specimens gathered from all corners of the planet, a collection of 4,000 rare books that counts amongst the finest in the world, and almost a kilometer of archives that charts humanity's endeavors to make sense of the dizzying complexity of life on Earth. The Academy is a vast repository of answers to scientific questions we have yet to imagine. It is a rich source of stories on the making of America. And for over 2 centuries, it has been a wellspring of national genius. As President Fry mentioned, the Academy would be the jewel in any crown. But since 2011, it has been the singular perquisite of academic life here at Drexel University. Last year alone, 36,300 students, parents, and teachers participated in the Academy's learning programs. We served over 260 schools throughout the city. We supported 65 co-op students, published 61 peer-reviewed articles, delivered 80 presentations, secured nearly $5 million in grants and contracts. The Biodiversity, Earth, and Environmental Sciences Department taught 160 undergraduates, 40 graduates, and 600 students from majors throughout Drexel. Our scientists visited 12 countries, described 37 new species, and unearthed 6 new species of dinosaur. Perhaps this gives you all a sense of why I am so proud of what my colleagues achieve year in, year out. But, and this is for all the LeBeau College of Business students amongst you, how can the Academy go from good to great? In what areas might it advance from being eminent to being preeminent? In short, how can we calibrate our purpose in ways that equip the Academy for the years ahead, and in so doing, embody the core values of Drexel University: access, diversity, and innovation? how can we help Drexel realize its vision of being the most civically engaged university in all America? How can the Academy, for the geometricians out there, position itself at the heart of the bold equilateral triangle that looms large behind you and me, by being not only a home for science, but also an inspiration for art and a conduit to industry? And fundamentally, how can the Academy do the one thing that natural history museums are uniquely placed to do best of all? How can it engage locally, regionally, and internationally in ways that make the world it encapsulates just a little bit better as a result? Well, to find answers to those questions, we must consider some of the key challenges that today confront not just the Academy, but all science museums. And those challenges have been rather neatly summarized by our allegorical friends, fox, mouse, owl, and moth. You'll recall that our moonstruck menagerie sought and received a definitive answer to a fundamental matter of natural science. What exactly is the moon? Yet the empirical facts shared by the man of science offered no epiphanies. Whilst the animals each separately discerned the mechanism and impact of the lunar cycle, their observations were all brusquely dismissed. Our fellow in the high tower failed to recognize the demonstrable competence of his visiting citizen scientists. He failed to appreciate the different ways of knowing that had been refined across countless generations of his indigenous neighbors. An opportunity to widen understanding was missed. With a room full of engaged and excited colleagues, the man of science could have embraced not one, but 4 complementary perspectives as he reflected on how best to answer their research question about the moon. Instead, his approach was familiar to him. Interdisciplinarity was sidestepped. An opportunity to enrich understanding was missed. The animals each outlined complex scientific ideas, from reflection through radiation, by way of vivid language and imagery. Each painted a compelling word picture of a moon that occupies a profound place in their respective cultural identities. The scientist's response was, alas, a rather desiccated one. He didn't speak their language. An opportunity to explain science in an accessible way to them was missed. And finally, moth, mouse, fox, and owl each had distinct and deeply held convictions about the moon that they eventually fought over, tooth and claw. They failed to reconcile their differences even in the face of empirical evidence. An opportunity to facilitate common ground through a shared understanding of the world was missed. Now, the latter should come as no surprise. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche observed that convictions are more dangerous enemies of the truth than lies. To get a sense of what he meant, and here I'm referencing the exceptional work of Andrew Hoffman, Professor of Sustainable Enterprise at the University of Michigan, let's consider some facts relating to just one hot-button topic that is increasingly forming the focus of science museums and remains a fundamentally divisive subject: climate change. The scientific community, including the Academy, overwhelmingly supports the Joint Science Academy Statement of 2005 that Earth's warming in recent decades has been caused primarily by human activities. And yet, despite this consensus, a 2013 survey by the Yale Program on Climate Change Communication found that only 63% of Americans believe that global warming is happening, of which just 49% believe that it is caused by by human activities. Social scientists have found that the demographics for climate change echo those of environmental concerns more generally. They are more female than male, more young than old, more college-educated than less, more affluent than poor, more urban than rural, more coastal than landlocked. But the strongest correlate is political affiliation. Bear with me. Both Republicans and Democrats are exposed to similar types of levels of science education, yet according to the Pew Research Center, 88% of Democrats believe that evidence of global warming is solid, compared to just 50% of Republicans. The reasons are complex, but can be summarized simply. Climate change challenges deeply held convictions. Members of the political right are reluctant to accept an inconvenient truth of the left. They're suspicious of the work of leading universities, where Democrats often outnumber Republicans by around 6-1, where they feel that peer review can easily be dismissed sometimes as power review. For the Christian right, anthropogenic climate change can challenge a fundamental notion of God. For libertarians, the prospect of a one-world response to managing climate change is a deeply troubling proposition. Now, my point here is not to embroil ourselves in political and religious theses, but rather to highlight a vital point of order. More science, though important, will not by itself alter people's positions about climate change. Or, for that matter, genetically modified food, fracking, human evolution, nuclear power, stem cell research, any number of other scientific issues that are conviction couched. These critical subjects of science are each the walking wounded of a culture war. And unfortunately, a culture war cannot be concluded by firing off an arsenal of facts alone. It can only be resolved through the negotiated concession of common ground, a collective understanding of opposing perspectives. After all, at the end of our bedtime story, the Dramatis Personae had all shared information, but none had changed their mind. The night creatures all returned to the mossy place, formed their silent circle, and saw the moon again. Now, I appreciate I've been a bit tough on the man of science in all of this. And to be clear, I am not suggesting that institutions such as mine need to produce better science, but rather that science museums around the world need to communicate and engage, both internally and externally, in very different ways than they have in the past, if they are to fulfill their full value for the future. When our founders formed the Academy, they understood immediately that their new enterprise needed an address, a home. Their requirements were simple: a reading room, a place to deposit specimens, and, in their own words, a conversation hall. Not a lecture hall, a conversation hall. That need is as acute now as it was 2 centuries ago. For too many of us, it's become safer to retreat into our own bubbles, whether in our neighborhoods or on college campuses or places of worship, or especially our social media feeds, surrounded by people who look like us and share the same political outlook and never challenge our assumptions. We have become so secure in our bubbles that we have started accepting only information, whether it's true or not, that fits our opinions, instead of basing our opinions on the evidence that is out there. But without some common baseline of facts, without a willingness to admit new information and concede that your opponent might be making a fair point, and that science and reason matter, then we're going to keep talking past each other, and we'll make common ground and compromise impossible. In rising to this eloquent challenge laid out, as some of you may have recognized, by President Obama in his farewell speech, the Academy is going to do what it's always done. It's going to lead the way. In the years ahead, the Academy will broker difficult conversations around the complex scientific issues and respect, if not necessarily agree with, the convictions they challenge. The Academy will evolve as a science institution that goes far beyond the conveyance only of facts, facts that are now ready available on the phones in everyone's pocket, to one which recognizes that, in the words of the poet Muriel Rukeyser, the universe is made of stories, not of atoms. The Academy will, through its diverse collections and eclectic programs, encourage approaches to interdisciplinary thinking. The Academy will champion community science as a way of devising compelling research questions, advancing science literacy, supporting environmental justice, and creating an institution that is truly inclusive and accessible to everyone. The Academy will generate knowledge and advance world-class biodiversity, earth, and environmental sciences. The Academy will encourage advocacy, foster citizenship, and support Philadelphia in the development and delivery of policies that favor a sustainable place to live. The Academy will harness the arts in the service of science communication as a way for people to understand the complexity of the natural world around them in their own way and on their own terms. The Academy will advance the acquirement, increase, simplification, and diffusion of natural knowledge. The Academy will celebrate science with inky pages that can be read by everyone. The Academy will bridge divides. For you, gathered here this morning, the Academy will be a home to students from accounting to virtual reality and everything in between. It will help you seek inspiration for your architecture through the structure of a shell. It will help you imagine new fabrics through the silk of a spider. It will help you circumnavigate the natural world without ever leaving the city. It will provide you with a route to industry. It will offer you a workspace where you can hone the skills that you might one day need to build a more sustainable and empathetic world. And the Academy of Natural Sciences of Drexel University will help you do what mouse and owl and moth and fox each do so very well, and really what you are all here for. It will help you wonder. Thank you, and best of luck in the academic year ahead.
Ready, my brother?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready for the journey?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to see Jesus?
Oh, yes. I'm waiting for the chariot 'cause I'm ready to go. Ride the chariot in the the morning, Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for the judgment day. My Lord, my Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for the judgment day. My Lord, my Lord.
Are you ready, my brother?
Oh yeah.
Are you ready for the journey?
Oh yeah.
Do you want to see Jesus?
Oh yes, I'm waiting for the chariot 'cause I'm ready to go. Riding in the chariot to see my Lord. 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 Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for the judgment day. My Lord, my Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. I'm gonna ride in the chariot to see my Lord.
Thank you, Dr. Powell and the University Chorus, for sharing your talents with us once again. And for Dr. Cooper, thank you for your inspirational words. Please share another round of applause for Dr. Cooper. Now it's my pleasure to invite Rich Grunewald, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, to the podium.
Thank you, Brian. It is my special privilege as Chairman of the Board of Trustees to greet this really distinguished gathering as we begin a new and exciting academic year. Each convocation heralds a time filled with hope and promise for students, for faculty, and for professional staff, and for the wider Drexel community. This gathering also provides us with an opportunity to take stock of our progress. There's no question that Drexel University is headed in the right direction. The vision that we have for Drexel as a university of distinction is becoming a reality, with great teaching awaiting the largest incoming freshman class, a class full of talent and primed for success, with a vibrant cooperative education program that's about to celebrate its centennial, with growing research that's contributing to life-changing knowledge to society, and with civic engagement that is building community and citizenship and positioning Drexel as an anchor institution in Philadelphia. Now we can look ahead with pride and hope for this coming year, to the continued improvement of our campus, to new resources for students and community, and to the growing momentum of a university campaign in support of student success, great teaching, and discovery. On behalf of our Board of Trustees, I want to pledge to you our continued support to President Fry's mission to make Drexel a center of scholarship, innovation, entrepreneurship, and civic engagement. For the coming academic year, I wish you all the very best success. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to welcome and introduce Dr. Kevin Owens, Associate Professor of Chemistry in the College of Arts and Sciences and Chair of the Faculty Senate. Dr. Owens.
Chairman Greenewalt, President Fry, Provost Blake, members of the trustees, of the professional staff, university administrators, Drexel students, and my faculty colleagues. I've been asked to bring greetings from the Faculty Senate to the university community on this occasion of convocation. As the newly elected chair of the Faculty Senate, on behalf of the Senate, greetings on this occasion of the start of the 2018-2019 academic year. I sincerely wish everyone a safe, healthy, and productive year of learning and doing. We have much cause for joy. We've just celebrated 125 years since the establishment of our university by our visionary founder, Anthony J. Drexel. Next year, we'll celebrate the 100th year of our signature cooperative education model. This fall, we welcomed our largest freshman class by all measures of the highest quality, and we're in the midst of our largest ever capital campaign aimed to increase support for student scholarships and for named professorships for faculty. We have a brand new Wawa on campus. That said, I'm also reminded of the ancient Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. The last several years here at Drexel, we have certainly lived through some interesting times, and it appears we still have some ahead. We have weathered some bruising budgetary challenges and growing pains in instituting a new budgetary system. We have said goodbye to some cherished colleagues too soon. We have both personally and collectively had to pull in our belts another notch, and sometimes it's hurt. Too often we struggle with authentic communication and understanding accurately who we are and what we can and should do. We sometimes allow our policies and procedures to interfere with forward progress. Excessive caution sometimes hampers us from reaching the brightest possibilities of our future. What we really see here is a tale of two universities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. This year we're embarking on a planning process, planning for the next strategic plan of the university, a plan that will guide us into the future. We enter this process mindful of changes coming in the demographics of the college-going population. We're also acutely sensitive to the high cost of higher education. It is not the same world we experienced as students ourselves, but I posit the future is also not as well scripted as some may think. We have to always remember the transformative power of education in our 21st century world. Despite all of our challenges, I'm heartened daily to see so many striving to provide our students the opportunity of this transformation. There is no choice for the future except to succeed, and in order to succeed, we need to cooperate, to work together, faculty and staff, administration and students. We need to always remember the vision of one university as championed by President Fry. Together, we can tackle the challenges that face us directly here at Drexel and those facing higher education in general. Once again, greetings all and good luck in our interesting path during this academic year. Thanks for listening.
The university exists to serve one of the most outstanding groups of students in the nation. Drexel students are represented by several student governmental organizations. I would like to welcome two of their leaders, Tamara Callanan, president of the Undergraduate Student Government Association, and Melvin Matthew, vice president of student life in the Graduate Student Government Association.
Now, I don't have as much of a storytelling voice as our keynote, so bear with me. So my name is Tamara Callanan, and I'm a fourth-year student in the LeBeau College of Business. I'm currently serving as the president of the Undergraduate Student Government Association, and on behalf of USGA, I would like to welcome all accepted students and people who are returning as well. I would like to give you all some words that I wish I had heard upon my acceptance to the university. Everyone at this university deserves to be here. You are here to be a disruptor, and you are here to be a change maker. You are here to make a positive impact on people's lives and make the changes that you want to see in the world. And I didn't always feel so confident saying that. it took me a while to realize that in order to get the most fruitful experience out of Drexel, it is crucial to lean into any discomfort and put emphasis on your willingness to adapt when things don't go quite as you had planned, whether that be during your academic, extracurricular, or co-op experiences. For all undergraduate students, join a student organization, even if your friends don't want to. Enroll in the difficult courses regardless of how much your peers complain about the difficulty. And apply to your REACH co-ops because you'll never know what opportunities lie behind a door that's never opened. Drexel will provide you with the tools necessary to be successful in all facets of your life, and it will propel you into a rigorous world of endless opportunities. This university is truly what you make of it, and it is your responsibility to get the most you can out of your time here. I'm proud to call Drexel my home, and I'm positive that you will feel the same pride too. Welcome and good luck.
Good morning, and welcome to Drexel University. What I believe is the school that will carve out your success story. My name is Melvin Matthew, and I'm the Vice President of Student Life with the Graduate Student Association. When I first came to Drexel, I was seated right where you were. I was in a brand new school, and as some of you, I was in a brand new country. I was excited about starting my graduate career, albeit a little unsure about how to forge my path forward. During my first term here at Drexel, I was very taken aback by the kind of advanced lessons that I was learning, which was unlike anything that I had gone through before. I knew I had to look around for help. I would sought assistance and advice from my teachers, and once again taken aback by how helpful they were with my success. Not just helpful, they were personally invested in my success. The kicker, however, being when we had to take up projects for our classes. Obviously, as Drexel students, we aimed too high and took up way too ambitious project. Eventually, we had to reach out to advisors, begging them for help, but we didn't have to beg. We reached out to one, they guided us to another. We reached out to them, they told us to go to another school that could probably help us much better. And I've not seen, till date, another school that promotes the kind of interdisciplinary culture amongst the students by its faculty. And for that, I am appreciative of Drexel, and I find you will be too. As a grad student in the mechanical engineering department, I often lead tours of lab spaces and facilities that we have. And whenever I answer queries from bright-eyed students, and more often than not, the very excited parents and families that accompany them, I always tell them that here at Drexel, the only thing that is an obstacle to your success is your passion and your drive to achieve it. As is Drexel's motto, ambition can't wait, and here it is your passion that drives that. As such, I want to challenge you today and for the rest of your academic career over here. Welcome to Drexel University. In the city of brotherly love, try new things, push your boundaries, and find that passion. In the words of Winston Churchill, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to keep continuing through that counts. As I and everyone at Drexel welcomes you into our family for your career ahead, let me leave you with this reminder. The ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that actually do. Welcome to Drexel University, and I wish you best of luck with your success story. Thank you.
Each year at this ceremony, we ask deans to welcome the new full-time faculty who have joined us and recognize all returning faculty. I ask that each new faculty member stand when his or her name is called. After all new faculty are introduced, the returning faculty of the academic unit will be asked to stand. Please remain standing until your dean or director finishes, and I ask that the audience hold applause until the faculty of that college are standing. Now I am pleased to introduce Dean Sharon Walker of the College of Engineering.
Good morning. It is my greatest pleasure to introduce 3 new faculty members in our College of Engineering. Dr. Anup Das, an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. If you are here, please rise. Dr. Fei Liu, assistant professor also in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Please rise. And Dr. Jennifer Atchison, assistant teaching professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering and Mechanics. And it's also my great privilege and honor to ask all of my faculty members, our faculty members, and professional staff in the College of Engineering to rise. And students of the College of Engineering, if we have here, they're probably hard at work in the Innovation Studio right now. If you're here, please rise. Hurrah! There you are. Thank you. I'm sorry. My script didn't involve the next part. I apologize. I am now pleased to introduce Dean Alan Sabinson of the Antoinette Westfall College of Media Arts and Design.
Thank you, Sharon. I think I felt I needed no introduction. I am delighted to introduce the new faculty of the Antoinette Westfall College of Media Arts and Design. Jeff Afruzese, Music Industry. Milady Bridges, Animation and Visual Effects. Maureen D. Simone, Design and Merchandising. Ann Gerondelis, Department Head for the Department of Design. Jacob Lunderby, Art and Art History. And Francis Temple West, Interior Design. Now please join in welcoming them and the entire faculty of the Westfall College, who should please rise. I am now pleased to introduce Dean Yi Deng of the College of Computing and Informatics.
I'm very pleased to introduce the new faculty of the College of Computing and Informatics. Thomas Havron of Information Science, Tammy Pierman, Computer Science, and Brian Smith, Senior Associate Dean of Academic Affairs. Please join me in welcoming them and all our faculty. Would the rest of the CCI faculty please rise? I'm now pleased to introduce Dean Paul Jensen of Bennett S. LeBeau College of Business.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to introduce the new faculty from the Bennett S. LeBeau College of Business. Stephen Bates, Assistant Clinical Professor, Accounting. Muge Kapan, Associate Clinical Professor, Decision Sciences and MIS. Mary Copeland, Assistant Clinical Professor, Accounting and MIS. Jeffrey Levine, Assistant Clinical Professor, Sport Management. Brad Sodowick, Assistant Clinical Professor of Finance. Please join me in welcoming them, and all our returning faculty and staff, please rise. I am now pleased to introduce Maria Schulteis, Interim Dean of the College of Arts and Science.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce the new faculty of the College of Arts and Sciences. Hussein Akan, Evangelia Krisaku, Rehab Ghazal, Jerry Griffith, Shannon Jacobson, Elizabeth Kimball, Carrie Lenhart, Celeste Mann, Megan Meyer, Tony Pittock, Jack Santucci, Jiang Song, Hilda van der Bulk. Please stand. Please join me in welcoming them to all our faculty, and will the rest of the faculty of the College of Arts and Sciences please rise. I am now pleased to introduce Dr. Ken Barbie, Senior Associate Dean and Associate Dean for Research in the School of Biomedical Engineering, Science, and Health Systems.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce the new faculty in the School of Biomedical Engineering, Science, and Health Systems, Hassan Ayaz and Michael Niedrauer. Please join me in welcoming them, and the rest of the faculty from Biomed, if you would please rise. I'm now pleased to introduce Dr. Penny Hamrick, Interim Dean of the School of Education.
Good afternoon. It's afternoon. I'm pleased to introduce the new faculty of the School of Education. Kareem Edward, Assistant Professor, Learning Sciences, Learning Technologies. Deanna Hill, Assistant Clinical Professor in the EDD program. Amanda Laney, Assistant Clinical Professor in the Special Education ABA program, who will be joining us December 1. Marlene Hilkowitz, a clinical instructor for the Dragons Teach program. And Jessica Day, Assistant Clinical Professor for the A.J. Drexel Autism Institute. Please join me in welcoming them and all of our faculty. Would the rest of this education faculty please rise? I am now pleased to introduce Tim Gilrang, Assistant Dean of the Richard C. Goodwin College of Professional Studies.
I'm pleased to introduce the new faculty of the Richard Goodwin College of Professional Studies, Ann Converse Wilkham and Kyle Norton. Please join me in welcoming them. Would the rest of the Goodwin faculty and professional staff please rise? I am now pleased to introduce Dr. Al Rundio, Associate Dean for Academic Nursing Programs in the College of Nursing and Health Professions.
I'm pleased to announce the new faculty of the College of Nursing and Health Professions: Christina Devereaux, Stacy Hohenleitner, Kayanne Laughlin, Tasha Martin-Peters, Nancy Murphy, Genevieve Pareca, Lori Ruskin, Minyoung Shim, Kelly Toffoli, and Justin Wolf. Please join me in welcoming them and all of our faculty. Would the rest of the CNHP faculty please rise? I am now pleased to introduce Dr. Valerie Weber, the Deborah J. Tuttle, and John P. Piper, Senior Vice Dean for Educational Affairs in the College of Medicine.
I'm pleased to introduce the new faculty of the College of Medicine. Apparently it's been quite a busy year and there are several, so please bear with me. If anyone's here, please stand. I think many of them are probably on hospital wards and in the office seeing patients. Gieth Al-Nouri, Ryan Arnold, Norel Atkinson, Jerna Balani, Jacqueline Barker, Jody Batya Barnes, Christine Capriolo, Natalie Chernetz, Kathleen Degan, Marciela de la Cruz, Ashish Dwawan, Dean Dresner, Mark Vamador, Lawrence Feinstein, Sanal Gunka, Karen Ha, Azam Hamad, Edward Hartso, Azia Hassan, William Hockgertel, Joshua Jackson, Jacqueline Klika-Skills, Renee Cottonhan, Peter Lally, Matthew Lawrence, Emily Levy, Emery Lin, Leah Lojo, Ying Lu, Aswan Matthew, Catherine McCanns, Michael McCormick, Lauren McCormick, Gretchen Metzenberg, Ellen Mitchell, Raha Mojalapu, Mario Montalvo, Tina Morgan-Ross, Farah Muncie, Joshua Nelson, Catherine Newton, Hassan Pagnahad, Ashley Parker, Neil Patel, Fat Pham, Phil Morris-Kinon, Kartik Ramakrishna, Vasala Rampasad, Michael Ricardo, Kristen Rizak, Shavaria Sarar, Priscilla Sato, Susan Schmidt, Kunal Shah, Safia Siddiqui, Angela Silverman, Ayaka Silverman, Shelny Sukyal, Emily Spangler, James Stark, Olga Thon, Moralia Vesquez Martinez, Anne Thuvu, and Mari Worthen. Please join me in welcoming all of these new faculty. Thank you. I'm just making our new engineering dean feel a little bit more comfortable by also doing the same thing. Was just exhausted after that long list. So I'm now pleased to introduce Jen Kalker, Associate Dean for Public Health Practice in the Dana and David Dornsife School of Public Health.
I'm pleased to introduce the new faculty of the Dana and David Dornsife School of Public Health. Joseph Amen, Sherelle Barber, Usama Bilal, Alex Eze, Songjul Park, and Jim Stimson. Please join me in welcoming them and all our faculty. Will the rest of the Dornsife faculty please rise? I'm now pleased to introduce Dean Paula Morantz Cohen of the C.R. Chuck and Annette Pannoni Honors College. Thank you.
Thank you. I am pleased to introduce our new faculty fellow in the Chuck and Annette Pannoni Honors College, Jennifer Ayers. And would all those who have taught or mentored in the Pannoni Honors College please stand? I'm now pleased to introduce Dean Daniel Filler of the Thomas R. Klein School of Law.
Hello. I'm pleased to introduce the new faculty member of the Thomas R. Klein School of Law, Hannah Block-Wieba. Please join me in welcoming Hannah and all of our faculty. With the rest of the Klein Law faculty, please rise. I'm now pleased to introduce Dean Donna DeCarolis of the Close School of Entrepreneurship.
At the Charles D. Close School of Entrepreneurship, we are still a lean startup, so I have no new faculty this year. But you will please join me in welcoming my innovative and disruptive existing faculty. Would you please Rise. I am now very pleased to introduce Dr. Elizabeth von Boxdale, Vice Provost of Graduate Education.
The Graduate College draws its faculty from all over the university, so I would ask any faculty who teaches or advises graduate students to please stand, along with the professional staff from the college and any graduate students with us today. Best wishes for the academic year.
Thank you to our academic deans. This year, we also tried to open up an opportunity for our academic advisors to attend. I know this is the first week, but if there are any academic advisors that were able to attend today, please stand as well and be recognized. I want to thank everyone for attending Convocation, the oldest tradition of our university. As we close our ceremony, please rise and remain standing as Grand Marshal Ludo Sheffer retires the mace and the stage party leaves the auditorium. When the stage party has exited, please join them for a reception in the Great Court. I wish you all the best for this new academic year.